This is Gabriel Gonzalez for Cage Side Press, and I'm here with one of the members of The Ultimate Fighter Season 30, Team Peña versus Team Nunes, Juliana, the Killer Miller. Juliana, so first off, young prospect, and they tell you, hey, we want you to be on TUF. We want you to be part of the season on ESPN Plus, all that good stuff. What's your reaction to hearing news like that?
It was meant to be, I was going through a period where I was unsure if fighting was the best career option for me, if I'm being honest. I was really thinking about joining the military as a pilot. I'm 25 now, so to me, being able to set myself up for a future is incredibly important. I want to buy a house, and although I always believed in myself to make it, I'm like, I see fighters give their whole life to this sport, and the only thing they have to show for it is a broken body, and it's heartbreaking. So, I had a talk with my coaches, and I was like, I don't know if this is the best direction for me. And I was like, I love competition. I'll be competing for the rest of my life, but I really need to focus on something that's going to be a career. And every single one of my coaches were like, you should not join the military, keep with fighting. I think it would be silly to quit. And I'm like, yeah, but like, how many people have said that and then they didn't make it, So I went to an emotional intelligence course with my options, and my goal was to decide what I really want to do and commit 100%. And I prayed for a sign. I'm not extremely religious. I do believe in a God. I don't know exact name on it. I believe in, good energy, higher power, my ancestors. And I really prayed to them. Lo and behold, I got a message from one of the producers saying, hey, we think you should apply for TUF. I applied, and I was like, man, if this is not the sign I was asking for, I don't know what is. And it really just goes to show that, I am a great fighter, but I think it's more than that. I think that like the people do want to see a persona, and I'm a really relatable character. I've overcome domestic violence, depression, all kinds of just traumatic things that normal people go through on a daily basis. And these are things that stop people from living their dreams. But I'm one of the few who found a healthy way to overcome it through emotional intelligence. So I'm really excited to go out there. I believe in myself that I'm going to win, but the stars aligned for this for me. So I know I'm meant to be here, and more than winning the whole show, I really want to go out there and show the world that you can do it. Like the young women who've been in traumatic situations, or the kids with violent parents, like you can overcome all that through martial arts and emotional intelligence. And, you really can live out your dream, and don't quit. Don't be like me and like almost quit on it, I've always wanted to do something high athletic. I still want to be a pilot. But I'm really just excited to share my story with the world and be motivation for people. And I think just being relatable like that is something that people enjoy seeing. And I'm just a fucking powerhouse, man. I'm going to leave it all in the cage.
No, well, for fans who didn't see our last interview, I've covered you for a long time. I certainly remember, I think.
You were my first interview with Kayla.
Yeah, exactly. I think you were about 2-0, 3-0 as an amateur a couple years ago. And I actually want to go back a little bit because, Juliana, when you talk about, you might want to step away and it's, maybe this isn't going to work out the way I plan. To me, I think, well, that's very interesting because you're training out of a good team that's turned out champions and title challengers in the big show. You're with Invicta, which is obviously one of the best places for especially a female prospect to be. And then quite simply, you've been doing your thing. You've gotten a lot of high profile exposure. You've been at on Fight Pass for, the Medusa and just the grappling invitational, submission underground, submissions on the shore. I mean, you've been also doing your thing in grappling with these other very talented, very experienced women in jiu-jitsu and MMA. I wonder just what was happening that you weren't getting that opportunity, that you felt like, hey, maybe I really, this isn't going to be my thing. Because I felt like, from the outside, it looked like you were doing very well for someone your age.
It wasn't the lack of opportunity. It was the fear of financial freedom and abundance. For me to do what I'm doing, even with Medusa, it's like if you submitted everyone, you could maybe win $5,000 or, I love Invicta. I'm so grateful for Shannon, but it's like you train 3 months for something and you're honestly, you're not financially stable, even if you win your fight, even if you get a crazy knockout. And I was searching for an idea of stability because of course, I want to find a husband, the love of my life. But at this point, I'm not sure that that's what was written in the stars for me. And it's like, man, if I'm going to do this on my own, I need to provide for myself. I want to own a house. I want to, I'm tired of struggling. And it's like 4 jobs, trying to train all the time, like helping with my family. Like, it's so hard. Like, I know fighters talk about it all the time, but I'm like, dude, I don't know if I can do this forever. And I know that 25 is still young, but I'm like, man, I've always wanted to be a pilot and I've been obsessed with flying. It is a high adrenaline thing to do. It's fucking badass. Like, being in the military is really cool. And so for me, I was just like, when I really looked into that option, for me, it meant stability. And there's really not much stable about fighting. And this brought me a lot of discomfort and worry. Not that I didn't believe that I would make it. And like I said, I would keep competing till the day I die. However, I was just prepared to spend some time doing school while I fought, so I could chase my secondary dream of being a pilot. And that is the way it is. Like, unless you're a Jake Paul or a Conor McGregor, like, excuse my cursing, but it's fucking hard to survive in this sport. Because here's another thing that made me kind of freak out is I turned 26 May 7th and I don't have healthcare anymore. I'm still under my dad's healthcare. So I'm like, dude, I'm getting beat up all the time. I go to the doctors like every 2 months with fucking all kinds of issues, hurt knees, elbows. Like, my body is being broken down because you train hard and it's inevitable. There's not one person, literally, I could go up to any fighter and be like, which finger have you broken? And everyone would laugh and be like, this one, this toe, like, it's just a common thing in our sport to withstand injuries. And I was scared, like, and I'm confident in myself and I believe in myself, but this is really giving me an opportunity for some financial freedom. And also, they take care of you medically. If something happens to me in TUF, they have a doctor that will stitch you up. And, I'm not gonna go into a hole for trying to heal myself. Like, if you don't have insurance and you go out there and get fucked up in a fight, like most small promotions, like, they'll help you there, but it's like a torn ACL, who's going to pay for that surgery? Like, there's just a lot to think about if you want to make this your life decision. And I think that it's worth it. It is the most gratifying experience in the world. But for me, I wanted to look at the real world and my future. And it's like, look, I want a family and I want to be stable and I want to protect my body. And I just really had a lot of decisions to make. And, this opportunity solidified that this is what I was meant to do. I was born for this. I've always been a fighter. And I fought for everything my whole life. Like, I had a really tough childhood. I wasn't popular. I wasn't rich. I had nothing handed to me. And there comes a point where it's like, fuck, I don't know if I want to fight for everything anymore. But then I realized, I'm like, damn, even going to the military, that shit's still a gnarly fight. Like, So yeah, here I am, and I'm just beyond grateful for this opportunity. And honestly, I'm just soaking in every second. Like a lot of girls that were in here, like, I'm so antsy, and I'm like, man, I work 4 jobs normally. Like, I'm fucking enjoying the fact that I can just go on a run, and I've really had an opportunity to study the fights. So it's been quite interesting, and no matter the outcome, I'm grateful to be here. And now that I've been given this, eye awakening opportunity that this is where I'm meant to be, I'm gonna fucking go after it, and I'm gonna try to kill these girls. Really, I'll rip their heads off if they'll let me. Like, I don't care. I want this.
I mean, that's very on brand for the killer, if I may say so. You know what I mean? Julian, I do want to ask you, and I know this is probably a more serious interview than we've had in a while, but you and I have spoken about this both on camera and off. And to put it simply, you've been through a lot, and you have had a lot of experiences, not just for someone your age, but in general. And part of TUF, that they ask you guys to talk about that. They ask you to share, and that's part of your journey, what you've been through to get to that point, and what winning a fight means for someone who's put the time in and overcome these other things to be a pro fighter. I mean, that's a very big audience now through ESPN Plus and through the platform of the show that's gonna know some really intimate details about you. And for myself, I mean, some stuff that's just my business, good or bad. This one, TUF, everything's kind of out there, and a lot of strangers know some really intimate details about you. I mean, how do you feel about that experience and just having a lot more people know so much more about you?
I had an ultimate freak out the other night where I was like, oh my God, like, for people to understand me, they have to understand what I went through. And I was like, I called them, the production, and I was like, man, I need to get out of here. Can I please go for a run? I went outside and I ran till I couldn't breathe anymore, trying to get my head straight. And I decided that I am going to share my story vulnerably. However, I don't want to ruin anyone's career. For the people that, assaulted me and stuff. So I'm not going to say any names. But the thing is like, I'm not the only one who's been through this. Honestly, the majority of the population has been assaulted, has been sexually abused. Gratefully, I've never been sexually abused, but I'm just saying, like, the majority of people battle with depression, anxiety, friends taking their own lives. Like, this is stuff that happens all the time, and people don't often talk about it because it's a touchy subject. And then they're like, here, give you a pill. Oh, you have ADHD? Here's a pill. Oh, you're manic depressive? Here's a fucking pill. Like, that's, sorry to get like deep, but dude, that's how our society is built. Like, if something's wrong with you, here's a pill. And like, in reality, there's nothing wrong with you. You're emotionally struggling because something bad happened. The only way to fix that is working on your mind. I spent 3 years working on my mind. The 4 years now, the past 4 years, I have been medication free. I've never been happier. I very seldomly have breakdowns like I used to before. And when I do, I handle them like a champ, man. Like, when I start to break down, I go for a run, I breathe, and then I center myself. And coming from a person that was on, I have 5 things the doctors say are wrong. I'm dyslexic. I have ADHD. I have OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, impulse control disorder, and manic depressive disorder. They told me I needed to be on medication for the rest of my life. And you know what? Part of all those things that I needed medicine for were because I had trauma happen to me. You don't need medicine to heal trauma. What you need is to learn how to work through that trauma. And it's painful. And while you're going through it, you want to die. But the thing is there's a heaven on the other side of that. There's this freedom that exists. And I'm ready to be motivation for the world, for young women. And although some of the things I went through are embarrassing and emotional, I know I'm not alone. And I know that I can be a voice for someone out there that's going to see me and being like, damn, I've been through a place where I wanted to take my own life. Very few people act on it, but I can honestly say, if you had 100 people, probably about 85 of them have had that thought cross their mind at one point, like, man, I want to die right now. And there's positive ways to deal with these things. It's fucking natural, man. We're humans. Bad things happen all the time. It's how you deal with it. So I'm excited. I'm so stoked that like I can be vulnerable and honest, and I can go out there and share my story in an intelligent way where like I'm not angry anymore at the people that hurt me. I'm not going to share their names. But I will share my story, and the people who know this person are going to be like, damn, bro, she was talking about you. And I'm like, well, motherfucker, maybe you shouldn't have been 30 fucking a 16-year-old. Like, sorry, like, you know what I mean? Like, I have no beef with that person anymore, but it's like, there's shit that traumatized me. And it's like, people need to know, like, this happens all the time. Young girls not knowing, having no direction, no father figure, and some fucking older dude that is kind of famous comes in to be a savior, and then, you know, like beats you, assaults you, cheats on you. Like, I'm not the only one that's been through this. However, I am one of the few that is fearless in speaking my mind, and I'm one of the very few who have beat it with no medication, just through emotional intelligence. So, you know, normally I'm so happy-go-lucky and, you know, like passing this stuff by, but this is who makes me who I am. I'm strong, and because of the things that hurt me, I'm ruthless, and I'm ready to release that in the cage.
I mean, I think anyone who's even remotely come close to any of those experiences certainly can relate with you and will certainly feel that strength through your story, because watching you out there, certainly you really are one of the more exciting prospects out there for fans who haven't gotten a chance to see you yet. And I think I appreciate you being so honest about why and how the things that have affected you do. So I do appreciate that, Juliana, as a friend, and just talking to you here publicly. I do want to shift gears a little bit, because I do want fans to get a little bit of a taste of what you might be feeling, what you might be thinking. When you go out there, and you know, spoiler alert, this is going to happen. They're going to line up all the guys and girls, and the coaches are going to select people for their team. What do you think is going to be going through your mind when you're like, is Amanda going to pick me? Is Juliana going to pick me? What do you think is going to be going through your head?
Well, you know, a lot of the seasons I've watched, often they ask the fighters, whose team do you want to be on? And 100%, I want to be on Team Nunes. I have nothing but respect for Juliana Pena. However, one, I'm half Brazilian and I want to learn Portuguese. If I'm working with Amanda Nunes, I would love to have her teach me some words to where I'm going to become more intelligent with Portuguese. So when I go home to Brazil and see my family, I can communicate with them better. Not only that, I love her striking. So, you know, if the coaches ask me, if Juliana asked me, what team do you want to be on? Right away, I'm going to say Nunes, and I'm going to explain why. And I'm going to be like, listen, I think you're incredible. You know, like, I have nothing but respect for Juliana, but, you know, this is why I want to be on this other team. And chances are she won't pick me. I see people get kind of broken when they're chosen last. I'm prepared for that. Like, I'm genuinely prepared to be the last person standing there and get picked on whatever team I get picked on. I have one of the least records. I'm the youngest, and I have the least experience of any of the girls on this card. And the experience I do have, most people don't know about. Nobody knows about the strengths inside my mind but me. So we'll really see. However, I am probably the highest. I definitely have the best jiu-jitsu out of anyone on the card. I am the highest level grappler, so that is a huge confidence booster. But really, I'm very neutral, although I would love Team Nunes. If Juliana picks me, I'm going to be so excited and grateful for anywhere that I get put. Like I said, man, this was written in the stars for me to be here. So I know that I'm going to end up where I need to be. But I'm just neutral, whether I get picked first or I get picked last. I'm just happy to be here. And I'm happy that when I go out there and scrap these high level girls, listen, they're not going on my record. It's an exhibition match. That means if I have a tough day and I lose my first fight, which won't fucking happen, I'm making it to the finale, like, you know what I mean? But if that were to happen, it's not like it's going to ruin my career. You know, it's an open opportunity to learn from some of the most incredible female athletes to ever exist and walk this planet. So, man, you know, like, we all have our preferences, but I'm just excited to be here and I'm prepared for anything. And I don't care if I'm first and I don't care if I'm last. It's not going to change how I feel about this situation.
Totally get it completely. Fans, part of it, it's also a reality show. People wonder if there's going to be any drama, the tea, you know what I mean? I was curious about this. So for fans who don't know, your last MMA fight was with Claire Guthrie, who's also, Invicta vet, also is going to be on the show. For yourself going in, and I'm not saying that you guys necessarily have a beef, but are you looking to, hey, I wouldn't mind getting that one back on the show, or do you care about being a teammate?
I want to rematch her right now. I would literally meet her outside in the lobby to fight her. It's pretty interesting because her last fight was against me too, and I'm sure we've both grown a lot. However, I don't think that was the most fair decision. I rewatched the fight last night and I was so pissed. Honestly, Claire was really, really mean to me after the fight. When I went to stand up, she kicked me in the stomach. When I went to shake her hand and I went to say good job, she went psh, and knocked her elbow into me. However, 3 weeks before I got here, she messaged me on Instagram, was like, hey, I just wanted to apologize for my attitude. I did that because I felt this way. And I was like, man, I completely understand. We squashed our beef as far as the drama goes. We've actually been in the same van multiple times. We've talked. I really like Claire. She's beautiful. She's fucking strong. She's fun. I think I'm a little bit more entertaining because I throw some crazy stuff. However, we're here to fight. Even if I like her, it doesn't matter where we end up. I would love to face her in the finale. I think that would be really cool. However, there's some other really high level girls that I feel will also make it to the finale, but I want a rematch. And I am rewatching our fight last night. I'm so mad because I went home from that fight and I'm like, dude, I suck. I'm not a good fighter. When I rewatched the fight, I took her down 5 or 6 times. I literally took her down 5 or 6 times and somehow the judges scored wrestling and jiu-jitsu as nothing. That 30-27, I was like, this is bullshit. The judges are bullshit. I'm fucking tired of it. And my last fight, I was on antibiotics. I didn't feel good. And I'm a finisher. If I grab her arm again, I'm going to break it. I really will break it in half, no remorse. And it's not out of any beef of oh, she's a B word or anything like that. I actually respect the girl. I think that she's great. She's really incredible. She's so beautiful. When you talk to her, she's very intelligent. She's an investigator. She'll find out your social security number if you needed it. If I needed someone to look up a boyfriend or an ex-boyfriend, I'd be like, yo, Claire, help me out with this. She's smart. She's fun. She's great, but I want a rematch. I will break anyone to get it. So I do hope that I face her again. So if she is on my team, I'm hope we face each other in the finale then. Let's if she is on my team, even not the finale, sometimes if the teams have a clean sweep, it'll be the last fight, it'll be your own teammates versus each other. So I'm hoping for that. Really whatever way possible. The thing is we've both grown, obviously. But I'm healthy this time. I'm not on antibiotics. My body's strong, and I'm hungry. I'm irritated with that loss. And here's the thing: is that was my first ever loss in MMA, and I'm coming with a vengeance, dude. I'm just so motivated, and I'm ready to release a killer. Last fight, you did not see a killer. You guys saw some girl who went through emotional intelligence. It was man, I'm not angry about my past anymore. I let it go. And, I was smiling. I was having a good time. I'm not here for a good time. I'm here to kill. So I know she's ready for it. We actually messaged back and forth on Instagram. We're like, man, I hope we face each other in the finale. So there's no low key beef, but she knows I want to fight her again, and I'm sure she wants to fight me again because she wants to prove to everyone that it wasn't a fluke and that she's a better woman. And I'm coming with a vengeance, so it should be a really interesting season. And about the drama that you were saying, both Nunes and Pena aren't exactly the most like drama filled people. However, whatever team I get on, I'm gonna be like, let's pull a prank. You know, like that's what was so cool about last season is like, I don't think you could top Brian Ortega bring in giant exotic snakes. Like that was fucking crazy. But I, you know, whatever team I get on, it is good fun. And I do want to give the audience a good show. So it's like, I'm going to be spicy and I'm going to suggest we pull some pranks and not in a rude way, but something pretty funny. You know, I don't know what it would be, but I'm going to be the one that's like, yeah, let's get him. Let's get that team. Let's pull a prank. Like, let's give the audience a show. Like, I'm just so ready for it.
Yeah, I am too. I know you. This is going to be good television. I can't wait for it. You're going to be that one, and I think it's the best. Juliana, as we round home, just a little bit more housekeeping. Obviously, people are wondering the coaches, who's going to win the rematch, et cetera, et cetera. Who do you got? I mean, you think that Nunes gets it back or Juliana gets her again?
That's a really tough thing to say. I think that Juliana is definitely capable of beating her again. However, similar to my match with Bia Mesquita in Mexico, Bia's like, oh, this little purple belt, like she has nothing to offer me. And she underestimated me. She really did. And after I beat her, she immediately wanted a rematch. And here's the thing, because this time she's not underestimating me and she's pissed and hungry and ready for the kill. I feel it's very similar with Nunes. Like, I think Nunes underestimated Peña, didn't see her as the threat she did. I know in her interview, she's like, you know, I'm not underestimating her, but she's like, she's crazy thinking she's going to take my belt and this and that. And, you know, Nunes hadn't cut weight in a long time. There could have been an injury. There could have been a weight cut error, or it could have been an underestimation. But regardless of the outcome, I think that Nunes, obviously, if she agreed to do this season, there's a little bit of animosity there and she's pissed and wants her belt back. So I think that Nunes is going to come out a different woman. However, Juliana's strikes are so calculated and she's just an all-around great fighter. I mean, Juliana won her TUF season with Chris Holdsworth. And I think that Juliana can win again. However, I'm just such a huge Nunes fan. No, nothing, you know, rude towards Juliana, but I really do believe that Nunes, once she puts in the work and realizes like, hey, I'm going to look after this girl. However, there is one thing coming into play. Juliana's used to Ultimate Fighter. Nunes has never done anything like this. So not only are they training for their rematch, they're coaching us. This could also play a huge role in Nunes not doing as well as she could have, because it's like she's used to focusing only on herself. Now she has 16 athletes to coach, not only to coach, to look after and to train with, and then she has to do her own training. And if you're not used to something like that, that could really mess with your head, where Juliana is used to it. So I think that Juliana does have the capability to win the rematch, but I'm still Team Nunes.
It completely. I love that analysis. That's how I feel about a lot of it too. I mean, it's such a very interesting matchup. I think you could feel that in all of their appearances since then too. There's just a different. Peña's walking with a different kind of vibe. Nunes is got her own vibe still. It is going to be very interesting television. Certainly, the fight is going to be very, you know, a pick 'em, I think, by the time you get to the end. My final question for you, Juliana, and I know this is probably difficult, but if you could put into words what it would mean to you to have a great showing on the show, whether it's just going out there and having the best fight, win or lose, getting to that finale and being handed the trophy by Dana White. I mean, can you put into words what it means to you, big picture, to have just this opportunity and to possibly win that whole thing?
I was born for this. I was born for this. It's everything I've ever wanted and waited for. I know that no matter the outcome of my win, loss, my win though, but
Of course.
I'm a good person and I'm fun to watch. There's a reason I have a lot of followers, and they were built because, you know, like I'm relatable. And the thing is, when I was younger, I told my brother, I must have been 5 years old. I was like, I'm going to be famous one day. And he's like, yeah, okay. And I was like, no, I feel it. Like when I was a young girl, I felt in my heart that I was going to do something to help make a difference in some way or another. I was born for this. I know that I'm going to leave a positive stamp. I'm not rude. I'm not the mean girl, and I'm not the drama girl, and I'm no longer an emotional wreck. So there's nothing that could ruin my name 100%. Like all this is going to do is bring positivity to my life. So the one word I could sum it up is gratitude. I'm just so grateful for the opportunity, and it won't go to waste. And y'all get ready to see a killer, because I'm coming for it. I'm hungry. Literally and physically and spiritually. Like I'm cutting weight right now. Like I'm actually hungry.
Hey, I know you got this. I know you'll be good. Juliana, thank you so much once again for your time. Like I said before, covering you for a long time, just congratulations on the opportunity. And for fans who don't know yet, I am telling you, it's going to be good television. So definitely tune in. Juliana Miller, don't know what team she's going to be on yet, but you know it's going to be a good one. Season 30 of The Ultimate Fighter, Team Nunes versus Team Peña, airing this spring. You guys are not going to want to miss it.